right, let's continue. Now Mr. Avery looks up frowning. I said quietly, Mr. Keller. Nate leans back and crosses his arms. Why would I do that? Simon shrugs. Why do you do anything? So you'll have the company for whatever your screw-up of the day was? One more word out of either of you and it's detention tomorrow, Mr. Avery warns. Simon opens his mouth anyway, but before he can speak, there's the sound of tires squealing, and then the crash of two cars hitting each other. Addie gasps, and I brace myself against my desk like somebody just rear-ended me. Nate, who looks glad for the interruption, is the first on his feet toward the window. Who gets into a fender bender in the school parking lot, he asks. Bronwyn looks at Mr. Avery like she's asking for permission, and when he gets up from his desk, she heads for the window as well. Addie follows her, and I finally unfold myself from my seat. Might as well see what's going on. I lean against the ledge to look outside, and Simon comes up beside me with a disparaging laugh as he surveys the scene below. Two cars, an old red one and a nondescript gray one, are smashed into each other at a right angle. We all stare at them in silence until Mr. Avery lets out an exasperated sigh. I'd better make sure no one is hurt. He runs his eyes all over all of us and zeroes in on Bronwyn as the most responsible of the bunch. Miss Rojas, keep this room contained until I get back. Okay, Bronwyn says, casting a nervous glance toward Nate. We stay at the window, watching the scene below, but before Mr. Avery or another teacher appears outside, both cars start their engines and drive out of the parking lot. Well, that was anticlimactic, Simon says. He heads back to his desk and picks up his cup, but instead of sitting, he wanders to the front of the room and scans the periodic table of elements poster. He leans out into the hallway like he's about to leave, but then he turns and raises his cup like he's toasting us. Anyone else want some water? I do, Addie says, slipping into her chair. Get it yourself, princess, Simon smirks. Addie rolls her eyes and stays put while Simon leans against Mr. Avery's desk. Literally, huh? What'll you do with yourself now that homecoming's over? Big gap between now and senior prom. Addie looks at me without answering. I don't blame her. Simon's train of thought almost never goes anywhere good when it comes to our friends. He acts like he's above caring whether he's popular, but he was pretty smug when he wound up on the junior prom court last spring. I'm still not sure how he pulled that off, unless he's traded keeping secrets for votes. Simon was nowhere to be found on homecoming court last week, though. I was voted king, so maybe I'm next on his list to harass, or whatever the hell he's doing. What's your point, Simon? I asked, taking a seat next to Addie. Addie and I aren't close, exactly, but I kind of feel protective of her. She's been dating my best friend since freshman year, and she's a sweet girl. Also not the kind of person who knows how to stand up to a guy like Simon who just won't quit. She's a princess and you're a jock, he says. He thrusts his chin toward Bronwyn, then at Nate. And you're a brain and you're a criminal. You're all walking teen movie stereotypes. What about you? Bronwyn asks. She's been hovering near the window, but now goes to her desk and perches on top of it. She crosses her legs and pulls her dark ponytail over one shoulder. Something about her is cuter this year. New glasses, maybe? Longer hair? All of a sudden, she's kind of working this sexy nerd thing. I'm the omniscient narrator, Simon says. Bronwyn's brows rise above her black frames. There's no such thing in teen movies. Ah, but Bronwyn, Simon winks and chugs his water in one long gulp. There's such a thing in life. He says it like a threat, and I wonder if he's got something on Bronwyn for that stupid app of his. I hate that thing. Almost all my friends have been on it at one point or another, and sometimes it causes real problems. My buddy Louie and his girlfriend broke up because of something Simon wrote. Though it was a true story about Louie hooking up with his girlfriend's cousin. But still, that stuff doesn't have to be published. Hallway gossip is bad enough. And if I'm being honest, I'm pretty freaked out what Simon could write about me if he put his mind to it. Simon holds his cup up, grimacing. This tastes like crap. He drops the cup and I roll my eyes at his attempt at drama. Even when he falls to the floor, I think he's messing around. But then the wheezing starts. All right, so that's the first chapter of that book. Is anybody intrigued or interested? I know I am, but I was already interested before we read the first chapter, so I'm probably going to get that book soon. just so that I can read it for myself. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it inspired you to maybe pick the book up yourself, maybe from the local library. You guys can uh, pre-book books online. You can kind of order them and have them sitting out and do a run by roadside pickup, I think. I know my sister's been doing that. So that is a thing for libraries right now. So if you don't have the money to purchase a book, I suggest using the library app on the internet because it's a great way to get books and read many of them for no cost at all. So I'm sure that book is in the library. So if you want to look that up, I suggest doing so. If not, have a good weekend and I will see you on Monday. Bye.